Hey Dreamers, in this episode, we had the privilege of interviewing Matt Dobrovolsky. He is an up-and-comer in the Disney company. He went through the Disney College program, and he gets to share also about his very unique courses that he's taking at the University of Central Florida. And this was a fun one because we got to record in a really cool location, right,
Yeah,
Joe?
the yacht club.
Yes.
Right, like little alcove in the yacht. I didn't even know it existed, but it was a great location for us to record in. And Matt was such a great sport about the whole thing, answering questions that I didn't think he would answer, given the fact that he
He's a current cast member.
Yeah, he's a current cast member. So nothing too spoilery, but it was great. It was great. I think there's a lot to be learned, and he has his own plans for when he gets to become a director or executive or high up in the Disney hierarchy.
Yes, so if you've ever wondered what it's like to be in the Disney College program, this will be definitely the interview you want to listen to.
Hi, this is Mike Purcell, voice of the Tomorrowland Transit Authority People Mover. As we approach the Tomorrowland Transit Authority station, our Grand Circle tour is coming to an end, but not to a stop, because you're listening to the Living the Dream podcast with your hosts, Krista Joy from DisneyWays.com and Joe Pardo from HowToDream.co. Hold on tight, because today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream. And get ready for the Living the Dream podcast.
Living the Dream podcast is your show, and we want to hear from you. Email us your magical Disney memory, and we will read it on the show. It can be typed or send us an audio file. If you include a photo, we will post your magical Disney memory on the blog as well. Our email address is thecrew@livingthedreampodcast.com. Josh Snyder of Indiana wrote in to tell us about his magical memory. I actually happened to be with Josh when this happened. Be Our Guest restaurant had been open for a while, but for whatever reason, Josh just hadn't had a chance to go inside of it yet. And we lucked out and got a breakfast reservation before that was even a thing. It was kind of a test program. And we walked in to Be Our Guest, and Josh was like a little kid, like his chin just hit the floor. And he was just so in love with this place. It's truly, as if you haven't been, it's like walking into a fairy tale. And he was just very happy to be there with the group of us, which were all pretty good friends, and in this magical place to try breakfast at Be Our Guest in the Beast Castle. It was really wonderful, and we hope that you'll write to us and share your memory as well. Thank you, Josh, for sending this in. I'm so glad that I got to be there with you, and it was a very special Disney magical memory. Matt Dobrovolsky is a current cast member and up-and-comer in the Walt Disney Company, and we are super excited to have him on the show today to share with you his Disney dream and his journey so far. Matt, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
So, Matt, you started at the Disney store in 2010. Now, this was like 5 years ago. Could you tell us about your time there? Like, what was it like working in the store, right? Because you're not working in Disney World or Disneyland, but...
Well, it's a smaller atmosphere, definitely, because you'll have... We had about 25 to 30 cast members there. I actually started with that well before, because that was when I was turning 18. And Disney, you have to be 18 years of age in order to be working there. Little did I know, so I applied before I was 18, and I got denied right away. So word to the wise, if you are 18 years old, you can apply for Disney now. But I only did that for about 4 months. Got the chance to work the Black Friday sales, and that was...
Wow, trial by fire right there.
Yep. Not fun. But I did that for about 4 months until about December of that year, and got my start heading down here to Disney World, starting with the college program.
Yeah, so that's our next question. Tell us about that. So many people are curious about that. Just tell us what it is and how that whole process goes.
Well, basically, it is a internship for college students. You can have already graduated college and be doing your semester after your graduation as a college program student, or you have to have done it after your first semester, which is what I did. I did one full semester of college, and then I went right in to the college program. It starts with a brief information session at one of your local colleges in the area. In my case, being from New Jersey, I had to go down to Montclair State University. Went over there. It was just about an hour and a half information session. To be honest, I really don't even remember that much from that information session. They were
You're
just
probably
like
pretty nervous, right?
not so much nervous. It was
I
just
would've
like the recruiters that were there. They were just like, "Hey, come and join the Disney College program." So that's pretty much all it was. The next step after that is following through the application process. You know, it's pretty simple. Where have you lived? Have you been convicted of a felony or anything like that?
Never.
You know, never. But then the next thing after that is a web-based interview. In my case, since I already worked for Disney, I got a chance to skip this. Because this was
nice.
basically just your typical Disney questions in true Disney fashion, you know. What do you think about handling guests?
Yeah, right.
I'm fine with that. You know, I do that all the time. But after that is the phone interview. The phone interview is the most critical portion of your interview process for the college program. It's about a half an hour interview, and if I remember correctly, you know, they were just asking you the basic questions. Why? And the big question was, why do you want to do the Disney College program? But it's your typical interview. You don't want to be worried about it. Just relax. The key thing with the phone interview is just to relax, because they're listening in to see if you're struggling, if you're nervous. Just relax. If this is what you want to do, then you're destined for it. After the phone interview, it was about 2 to 3 weeks until I got my acceptance letter. And I think typically they say it's about 3 to 4 weeks. So, you know, around that time, you'll start to get the acceptance letters. And I was hired on for quick service food and beverage. They didn't tell me where I was going yet, but once I got down here, I went through the housing process. They brought us over to the casting center, which is over by Disney Springs. And we went through there and they showed us, this is what you're doing. And they told me Port Orleans French Quarter. I'm like, okay, could be worse. I could be doing Magic Kingdom, dealing with 65,000 guests a day. But I said, you know what, this will be fun. I think I'll like it. And lo and behold, it was the best 4 months I've really ever had in my life.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Now, I know you're at college right now. It's very interesting what kind of track you're on. Tell everybody what you're studying at UCF.
Yes, so I finished up with community college back home, Berken Community College in Paramus, New Jersey. Did that, just got my gen ed courses down. And I got my acceptance letter to come down here to University of Central Florida. To be specific, the Rosen College of Hospitality Management, which is just off of Universal Boulevard on 528. And they have a specialized track there called Theme Park and Attraction Management. The only actual college in the world that actually has theme park classes.
Wow.
2 of which are taught by Disney legends. Duncan Dixon, who is the former head of casting for all of Walt Disney World. He was in charge of the hiring for Epcot back in '82. He was a manager aboard the Empress Lily before it became Fulton's Crab House. But then the other guy, who was my previous boss, I was his teaching assistant for a year and a half.
Are you allowed to say who that is?
I am allowed to say who that is. That is Disney legend, to be specific. He is a Disney legend.
Yes.
His name is Ron Logan. He was the former executive vice president of all of Walt Disney Entertainment for all the parks and resorts worldwide. He produced Fantasmic, Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, pretty much all the parades for the Magic Kingdom, Disneyland, anything overseas. If you ever saw Fantalusion from Disneyland Paris and Tokyo, he did that. He did Spectra Magic.
Incredible.
But
Well, I know a lot of our audience is working towards a dream in their life, and they're enjoying the journey along the way. So can you tell us a little bit, maybe you probably picked up some things from Ron and from some of these legends that really are going to stick with you, that, you know, you're probably so thankful that you went to school and got to be with these guys.
Really, what I've learned from all of them is just, and this is my philosophy as well, do what you want, not because you have to. I see so many people going off and doing jobs because they're like, Well, it pays well. No, but that's not what you want to do. My job was to, my dream was to work for Disney, to be specific, working in attractions and working the operations of the park and hopefully running the parks one day. And I'm working my way up there. I'm right now over at Epcot working Mission Space, Test Track, and Spaceship Earth. So it's, the key thing is to do what you love to do, because if you do what you love to do, it never seems like work. I go into work every single day saying, you know what? I didn't realize I'm actually getting paid for this. That's cool. That's really, really cool. So do what you love to do. You'll never have to work a day in your life.
I feel like they all had that in common. They were all doing things that they really, really
Yeah.
loved. So,
Yeah, I would say when you decided to come down to Disney, what was going through your mind as far as like your family, like your whole, like 'cause you're from Jersey too. I'm from South Jersey, it's a different world. But what was the mindset of like, hey, I'm leaving home, and I don't know when and if I'm coming back.
Yeah. To be honest, with the college program, since it's only about 4 months, I said to myself, I'm going to be back one day. It's plain and simple. When I took the trek down here to Florida, when I came down to Central Florida for UCF, it was a different mindset, because I basically said, I am fully moving down here. I said, in no way am I going back up there.
wow.
My philosophy has been, you don't have to shovel humidity. So that never in your life will you have to shovel humidity. And it's tough, but again, it's like I said, do what you want to do. And, it's not like I'm ever saying goodbye to them. I try and go back up there once in a while. I'm going actually back up there in September for a couple of days. But my parents are planning on coming down here soon, so that's not the end of the world. I know my friends will never come down here, but, I made even better friends here, and actually, in my opinion, my friends back home will never watch this thing anyway. So, but it's a new chapter in your life. You just have to say to yourself, "It's a new chapter. I've got the world ahead of me. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing this."
I'm so impressed by you, Matt. For a young guy to take that kind of a leap of faith and get out there, and really, this is the time of your life when you can do that.
Indeed,
just,
yeah.
Before you're married and have kids and you're tied down, you can go and just really chase your dreams. So congratulations on being
Thank
brave
you.
and doing that. It sounds like it's paying off
Yeah.
for you.
Now, where do you ultimately want to end up in Disney?
You'll all laugh, but my overall dream is to be the next George Kalogridis, who is the president of Walt Disney World. I want to be able to run the entire resort, because they're... Now, I will mention, I am a cast member. Anything that I say, it's my opinions solely. There's a lot of stuff that's not going right at the parks right now. And I have the mindset of Walt in my mind, and I always say there are a lot of stuff that he would not approve of to this day. So there's a lot of things that I want to change to better the company, and get guests to come back to the parks, because I believe a lot of guests decided to leave, and they're either going to Universal, they're going to somewhere else. I know that's the case with a lot of cast members. You're seeing a lot of cast members lately leaving because they want to go to Universal. I know I've seen that with a couple of my cast members over the last couple of days. But that's my overall goal, is to just shape Walt Disney World into what it was meant to be in Walt's mind. Kind of bring it back to the way it was back in the 70s and the 80s, and even the 90s for that matter too. Because I think it was, in my opinion, the end of the 90s, early 2000s, something happened and it just kind of sloped down a little bit.
What are the two classes that you were taught by Disney Legends, and who taught you?
Ron taught Intro to Theme Park Management. He also taught his own class called Entertainment Arts and Events. It's all about the arts that make money. And, both of his classes were just talking about all the stuff that he's done to get to be where he is today. We'd have projects in the class. The theme park class was design your own mini theme park, and the entertainment class was creating your own parade, stage show, spectacular, special event. So that was really cool. Duncan taught managing the guest experience and managing the employee experience in the theme parks. Two totally different classes. The employee experience, it was just talking a little bit about what you can do as a manager to make sure that your employees are always engaged on the job, but specifically looking at a theme park instead of, a hotel, a restaurant, anywhere else. And then managing the guest experience was my true favorite class, where you're focusing on the guest service standpoint, what you can do to better the guests in the theme parks. And my favorite project of all time was in that class. It was redesign your own area in an existing theme park. So you had your choices of the parks here at Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, Busch Gardens, anywhere else around the U.S., including Disneyland and California Adventure. So my group took the challenge and we did California Adventure. And we said, well, this park was already recently revamped. What can we do? So we just took it upon ourselves to recreate the Hollywood Pictures backlot area back there, and it really went very well. And that was one of the funnest projects I've ever done in my life.
Now, I'm curious, how long has this program existed, this fast track program?
The theme park management track has lasted about, I believe it's been a little close to 10 years, I believe now. It's a very, very, very new program. They're actually working on it right now for it to actually become a minor. So then this way it can show up on your degree once you graduate from UCF. Because when I will be graduating in August, and when I get my degree, it's just going to say Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management. It won't say anything about theme park and attraction management on there, even though I did that as a track. So they're working on that to get it as a minor on there. But overall, I think it's been about 10 years, and it's still progressing too. Over time, they've added more classes. They also have operational issues in the theme parks taught by a guy by the name of Chris Hecht, who is the assistant. I got to remember his actual title. Assistant Director of Park Services for Universal, and product development in the theme parks, which you're creating your own product for the theme parks, whether it be a merchandise, ride, something like that. And that's been kind of going off and on, where who would teach that. I got it taught by a guy by the name of Kelly Cack. And, he's a very big research guy. He's worked with Disney, he's worked with Universal, I believe, too. Not that much, but he's a very big research guy. He gave us so much research stuff that he's found over the time. But yeah, it's still up and coming. Over time, I think they're going to still add more. Has
there been any big success stories coming out of it?
Yes, one right here.
Yeah.
Well, yes, obviously.
Not yet, I think, because it's still brand new.
Right, well, 10 years,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in there at 18, 19, 20 years old,
Exactly,
10 years
yeah.
you'd be 30, you'd still be working your way up the ladder anyway.
Most of us, when we graduate, they're seeing most of us going into management level positions already. Not necessarily an executive or anything like that. But from a UCF standpoint, I can tell you, George Kalogridis, who I said, president of Walt Disney World, graduated from UCF. Al Weiss, who was the former Parks and Resorts operator worldwide a few years ago.
I met him. He's running Marilyn Monroe Spas now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's still, I believe, kind of with the board, too. So is Meg Crofton, kind of, I believe, before she left. Yeah, that's the other thing, too, is that we do have an advisory board for theme park and attraction management. And there are numerous industry leaders on that board, too. I know one that just left, It was the guy that came from Disney Cruise Line. He went over to manage Downtown Disney for a little bit, and now he's heading Euro Disney right now. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Tom Wahlberg. Okay. Tom Wahlberg. So he was on the advisory board for a little bit. Obviously, he left now because he's out in Paris. But they still have plenty of people from both Disney, Universal, and SeaWorld.
Okay. Well, I'm interested to know your take because a lot of people think they might like to work at Disney, but they're afraid it's going to ruin the Disney magic. What do you say to people about that?
I could say something right now, but we're trying to get a clean rating here.
Would you agree with that statement? Or
I would
disagree?
definitely not agree.
Not agree. Okay.
Because we all know what happens. We all know what happens behind the scenes. My first time underneath the Magic Kingdom at the Utilidors, it was pretty darn cool.
Right.
It was really, really cool. First time you actually see Mickey without a head.
Yeah.
Kids turn away right now. A
little traumatizing.
Yeah, a little traumatizing right there. But it's cool. You get to see how the inner workings are done. We all believe in that Disney magic, but it's us as cast members. We are the ones that create the Disney magic. It's not a ride through on Test Track, a ride through on Soarin', the new Avatar land coming to Animal Kingdom. It's not that. It's the cast members that do it. It's anyone that's hired on to be a part of the magic, and you are creating the magic every single day. You're going to see behind the scenes stuff all the time, but you're creating that magic. You're creating that smile on a kid's face. And that's what I've always lived by.
Matt, now, if there was one thing that you would do or could do as acting president of Disney World, far into the future, what would be that one thing that really sticks to your mind to be like that platform you'd be fighting?
Gosh, there's so many
to
things
make happen.
Never really thought about that because, like I said, there's so many. There are attractions that I want to bring back. Horizons, I want to bring that back. Yeah. If it's ever possible, I know it's possible. It costs money, but it's something that is required.
It takes a lot of money to make these dreams.
Oh, yeah. It takes a lot of money to make these dreams come true. I think my overall vision is to create a full-blown traditions program, because my feeling with the traditions program, which is the orientation that the cast members have to go through all the time, it's being reduced. And it's something that's troubling me.
You're seeing nutrition right now, too.
Exactly, yes.
So you think those two things might be related?
Yeah. My girlfriend Emma works over at Universal. Her orientation program was about 3 to 4 days, plus the on-the-job training. Wow. In addition to that. So it was 3 days getting them accustomed to the culture of Universal. Why is our traditions program only 8 hours one day when it used to be 3 days? Back in the 90s, it used to be 3 days. Duncan taught me this. That it used to be 3 days. It used to be this couple of day long program, but then they reduced it. I'm like, you can't pump the Disney culture into these brand new cast members in 8 hours. And I think that's what we're lacking, is we're lacking these strong cast members to really embrace the Disney culture, embrace the Disney magic, and the fact that we don't have a really good culture-oriented training session for our new cast members. I think that's why you're starting to see a lot of dropouts. You're not seeing the true magic anymore. That's been dropping off for the last few years. And that's what we really need to do, is that we need to bring that culture back. We need to make these cast members happy to be coming here to work.
Well, Matt, I know that the show that I used to do, we had Imagineers and executives listening to that show. I know because they would write to me. So hopefully they'll cross over and they'll hear you here at Living the Dream podcast as well, your opinion. So
that'd be nice.
Know.
Yeah.
You never know.
I'm available.
So that's probably about it for me. Did you have any more questions?
No, I think I'm good. I think you've done an awesome job, and
Absolutely.
I really appreciate you coming here to the Yacht
Absolutely.
Club.
Yes,
My
welcome
pleasure.
to the Yacht Club
Yeah.
at Disney's Resort. And thank you for being so patient with us.
No
Our
problem.
first live
No
interview
problem.
on scene today. So you're awesome. We appreciate it. So let everybody know where they can find you online. I know you have a really cool YouTube channel. And
Yes,
stuff.
I'm kind of getting my YouTube channel started back up again. That's youtube.com/DarthVader92. You can also find me on Facebook. I'll accept your friend requests, but please let me know. Maybe just send me a little message. If you have a bunch of mutual friends, then I'll probably already automatically accept you. That'd be Facebook.com/Matt, M-A-T-T, .Dobrovolsky, DOBROVOLSKY. You can find me through there. You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/DarthVader92. I'll follow you guys, and if you follow me, I'll follow you back. Especially if you're knowing some Disney stuff. I'm always appreciative of that. But definitely I'd love you guys to check out my YouTube page, because like I said, I am starting that back up again. Got some great videos coming out from the parks. I may be starting my own podcast one of these days.
Great.
Not
Great.
We'll have to
Fully
link
set
to
on
that
that.
in
Yeah.
the show
Yeah,
notes.
definitely. Yeah, thanks again for your time.
Absolutely,
So
no
I guess
problem.
We'll close it out.
Thank you, Matt.
no problem.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of Living the Dream podcast. We know there's a lot of great shows out there that you could be listening to, and we appreciate you taking the time to tune into ours. Remember to check us out online at livingthedreampodcast.com.
The greatest compliment you could give us is going to Stitcher Radio or iTunes and leaving us a rating and review. It helps us get the message out there to other dreamers.
It sure does. And until next time, I'm Krista Joy.
And I'm Joe Pardo. And remember, today's journey leads to tomorrow's dream.
If you can dream it, Mad Hatter Adventures can help make it happen. Mad Hatter Adventures specializes in everything from family trips, corporate travel, and last-minute getaways. Let Mad Hatter Adventures take the stress out of planning your trip and help save you money. There's no charge for their services, and they specialize in Disney vacations. Visit madhatteradv.com or give them a call at 1-844-M-HATTER today to find out more. Make all your travel dreams come true by calling 1-844-M-HATTER.